Okay, so let's get into this. I had an experience last week, actually, that really, it just shook things up for me. And it's why we're doing this deep dive. It was a totally normal Tuesday. I was just walking, not thinking about anything special, and then this feeling arrived.
Okay.
It was this spontaneous, quiet, just an unshakable wave of lightness. Not excitement, more like buoyancy, you know?
A sense that everything is okay.
Exactly. A deep feeling that everything is exactly as it should be. Pure, unearned peace.
And that word unearned is so important.
It's everything. Because almost instantly, my analytical mind just jumped in. I couldn't stand the quiet, I
You
think.
needed a reason.
It needed a reason. It started asking, what's this? Did I finally fix my anxiety? Is this spiritual progress? I was almost terrified of the feeling.
And I'm guessing as soon as that interrogation started, you could feel the lightness.
Fading, yeah. It was like trying to catch smoke. The mind, in trying to grab it, just scared it away. And that's what I wanted to explore. Why do we do that? Why is the mind so suspicious of the very thing we say we want?
Well, that paradox you just described, it's not a small thing. The joy that arrives uninvited but leaves when you question it,
Yeah.
that reveals a really deep truth about the self and its
Yeah.
need for, well, for structure. So that's our mission today, exploring why the mind is so terrified of happiness without a cause.
Okay, section 1. Joy arrives uninvited.
Right.
So let's start there. What is it about causeless joy that's so different? I mean, joy is joy, right?
Not to our internal structure. It isn't. Our whole mental architecture is built on justification. You know, if you get a big bonus at work, you feel joy with a cause.
There's a receipt for it.
Exactly. There's a receipt. It fits neatly into the ledger of your life. I worked hard. I got a reward. The ego can file that away under achievement.
And it feels secure. I did that, so maybe I can do it again. It makes me feel
Right.
competent.
Precisely. Joy with a cause becomes evidence. Evidence of your worth, of your control. But causeless joy, it whispers something completely different.
What does it whisper?
It whispers, you are not required for this piece.
Wow.
It suggests that the whole striving, planning, self-improving part of you, the part that's constantly trying to get happy,
Yeah.
was maybe never needed in the first place, that you were already whole. It suggests joy isn't a reward, it's just our natural state.
So the very act of seeking it is what covers it up.
It can be. The solid I that we feel we are, it's not really a thing, it's more of a verb, a process of grasping.
Comes what?
Experiences, labels, ideas, it builds an identity from all that stuff. Causeless joy is terrifying because there's no handle, nothing to grasp. It threatens to dissolve that whole identity.
I mean, is this a new idea? Or did older wisdom traditions talk about this?
Oh, absolutely. This is a very old idea. If you look at, say, Buddhist psychology, they had very specific words for this.
Like what?
Well, they talked about piti, which is like a spiritual rapture or excitement,
Yeah.
and sukha, which is a much deeper, more stable happiness.
And these weren't just reactions to good things happening.
Not at all. They were seen as things that arise naturally from the stillness of the mind. When you free it, even for a moment, from all the craving and the pushing away.
So it's not some mystical bolt from the blue. It's a consequence of inner quiet.
Exactly. You read these stories of monks or practitioners feeling this incredible joy while doing the most mundane things.
Like what?
Washing their robes, sweeping a floor, just sitting under a tree. They understood it wasn't an achievement. It was a glimpse of the mind's own natural clarity. Its luminosity.
Luminosity. I like that.
Yeah.
But it's still a bit hard to picture. How does the mind ruin it? Could you give me a metaphor?
Yes. There's a classic one. Think of a clear mountain lake.
Okay.
The surface is almost always rippling because of the wind, right?
Sure.
Those ripples, that's our thoughts, our plans, our constant internal chatter. And we mistake the ripples for the lake. We think the activity is the lake.
Right. I have my thoughts.
But what happens when the wind stops, even for a second?
The water becomes still, glassy.
And you can see right to the bottom. That stillness, that clarity, that is the joy. It's not something the lake gets. It's what the lake is when it's not being disturbed.
Right.
But the very second, the mind, the observer, says, wow, I've done it. I've achieved stillness.
A new ripple.
A new ripple. That claiming, that pointing eye disturbs the surface all over again. In trying to have the joy, we destroy the very stillness it came from.
That feels like a subtle kind of violence against myself. Trying to possess it. And that brings us to the next part, right? Section 2. The ego as joy's gatekeeper.
Exactly.
So why do we do that? Why do we treat this beautiful feeling with such a a grasping, controlling response?
Well, the first step is to maybe reframe the ego a bit. It's not some villain we have to deceit.
Okay.
It's more like a well-meaning but totally overzealous survival mechanism. Its only job is to create a story, a sense of continuity out of all the chaos of life.
It's an archivist.
A meticulous archivist, exactly. And it demands that everything, especially a powerful feeling like joy, gets categorized. It must be a reward for something.
So when joy shows up without being earned, the archivist panics. There's no folder for just because.
It threatens the entire library. I mean, the core threat is this.
Yeah.
Uncaused joy implies you don't need to do anything to be worthy of happiness.
And that would collapse the whole game.
The whole game of, I'll be happy when...
When I get the promotion, when I find a partner, when I fix myself.
Right. The ego's entire story is built on that gap. The idea that I am here and happiness is over there, and I need to build a bridge of effort to get to it.
An unearned gift feels unsafe because the ego can't control it.
But wait, I have to ask a question here to challenge this a bit.
Please.
Isn't there a danger of spiritual bypassing here? You know, if I just say, oh, this joy is causeless, am I just ignoring real problems? Like, say I'm worried about money and then this joy arrives. Am I just avoiding the actual issue?
That's a fantastic and critical question.
And the distinction is, allowance is not avoidance. Spiritual bypassing is when you use a concept to get out of doing necessary emotional work. This isn't that. The causeless joy doesn't mean your financial stress isn't real.
It doesn't pay the bills.
It doesn't pay the bills, but it reveals that your fundamental well-being isn't actually dependent on the bills being paid. It shows you that the person dealing with the stress is not, at their core, broken or incomplete.
So it doesn't solve the problem, but it changes my relationship to the problem.
It changes everything about your relationship to it. It shows you the archivist is working so hard on a system that is, well, fundamentally flawed.
Is there an anecdote for this? A story?
There's a classic one about a man meditating in a cave in the Himalayas. He practiced with intense discipline for years and years.
Right.
Then one morning, this profound, wordless joy just arose. He was completely filled by it. But by the evening, the old mind crept back in.
The archivist.
The archivist, and the thought came, this must be the fruit of all my hard work. My practice has finally paid off.
Ah, he claimed it.
He claimed it. He turned grace into an achievement. He put a universal experience onto the little shelf of my spiritual trophies. That's the ego's subtle theft.
But we do that all the time now. We turn every feeling into data. Mood tracking apps, journaling. We even perform our joy.
How so?
Posting the perfect photo of the sunset, we mistake the picture for the actual feeling. We're archiving our lives instead of living them.
And that leads us straight to the root of suffering. The ancient texts called it dukkha.
Which means more than just suffering, right?
Much more. It's that background hum of dissatisfaction, the friction that comes from clinging. The problem isn't that joy fades. Everything fades.
The problem is that we try to hold on.
We try to understand it, preserve it, repeat it. We suffer because we try to make the joy ours.
So if grasping is the problem, the solution has to be letting go.
Releasing the claim entirely.
Which brings us to section 3, the practice of allowance. Non-grasping. How do we actually do that in the moment?
Well, the path is what many traditions call non-grasping awareness. It's not about fighting your thoughts. That's just more grasping. It's about changing your relationship to the feeling. So when that joy pops up, instead of asking, why am I feeling this? Which is the ego demanding its receipt.
You ask something else.
You pause and you ask, what is this feeling asking me to notice right now?
Okay, let's make this super practical. The next time that wave hits me on a Tuesday afternoon, what do I do? What's the immediate action?
You step out of the story. Completely. Don't chase it with questions. Don't even try to have it.
So what do I do instead?
You anchor it in your body, in pure physical presence. Where is it? Is it a warmth in your chest? A spaciousness behind your eyes?
Feel its texture?
It's texture, it's temperature, it's a rhythm. Let it move through you like wind through trees. It shakes the leaves, but it doesn't uproot the tree. You don't need to understand the wind to feel it.
That's a powerful shift. Treating it like weather, something you experience, not something you own.
And this is key. It's not a selective practice.
What do you mean?
To really practice allowance, you have to be willing to do the same thing with difficult feelings. The joy might arrive, but the anxiety about your deadline is still there too.
So you don't push one away to keep the other.
You don't. You notice the tightness of the anxiety and the buoyancy of the joy at the same time. Without judging, You let them both be the weather of the moment.
That immediately deepens the whole thing. It's not a trick to feel good, it's a stance toward, well, all of life.
It is. Imagine two people feeling that same joy. The first one thinks, yes, I'm evolving. I need to remember how I did this so I can do it again.
The joy becomes a project.
Instantly. A story about me. The second person just feels the warmth, lets it be there, like a breeze through an open window.
The emotion is the same. The relationship is totally different.
And because the second person isn't clinging, the joy is less fragile. It can breathe.
It reminds me of a little kid laughing.
Yeah.
Just laughing at nothing, at dust motes in the sun. There's no I am happy. There's just laughter. It's the shift from happiness to I am happy that creates the problem.
That wedge is everything. The self becomes the subject, joy becomes an object, and objects can be acquired, but they can also be lost.
So when we practice this allowance, what does it unlock?
It unlocks the memory that you were never actually separate from life to begin with.
Yeah.
You realize you don't need a reason to be at peace. The moment you stop demanding an invoice for life's gifts, joy it starts to live with you instead of just visiting.
Because it's not a special event anymore?
It's just the quality of your attention when it's finally free.
This leads to the deepest part of this, doesn't it? The final realization.
I think so. The seeker in us, that striving part, is convinced something is missing. A key, an answer.
A secret technique.
But maybe the search itself is the barrier. The joy just appears when that illusion of being separate softens, and the mind finally stops narrating its own movie.
Because the belief that joy has to be deserved. That's the ego's last stand. The voice that asks, am I good enough to feel this?
Exactly. What if joy isn't earned or given? What if it just is, like space, like the sky? What if the only reason you feel it is because, for a second, the you who needs a reason just disappeared?
It's like that teaching from Talopa.
Yes. The 6 words of advice. Don't recall, don't imagine, don't think, don't examine, don't control, rest.
Just rest.
Simple, fundamental rest and awareness.
But I can already hear that voice in my head. The final trap,
The one?
it's saying, okay, but how do I stay here? How do I make sure I don't lose this? That need for security. That's the most stubborn one, isn't it?
It's the last echo of the archivist, trying to create a file called permanent enlightenment.
Right.
But the deepest teaching isn't that you reach some state where the questions disappear. It's that you become willing to live inside the mystery. You let summer come, but you don't demand it lasts forever.
The goal is for the need for an answer to fall away.
That's the culmination. So here's an invitation for you, for anyone listening, to test this out. The next time that spontaneous joy arrives, for no reason at all, don't move. Don't talk about it, not even to yourself. Don't even let yourself smile, that little smile that says, this is mine.
Just be still.
Just let it fill you, the way the sky fills with dawn. Not because the sky did something to earn the light,
But just because it was always open to it.
because it never stopped being open. And just notice what's left, what quality of being is revealed when that question, the question of why, finally falls silent.